Well, my name's Jerry Martin. I was born here in Farmersville, down on the Bisay Road, the empty lot right west of Fast Trip. There used to be a house in the back, and I was born in that house. Doctors made a house call back then. And my mother, she was born out here on Giant Oak Ranch, so I always say there's two generations of our family born in Farmersville, because I consider Giant Oak Ranch as Farmersville. And I went to grammar school here in Farmersville, graduated from grammar school, went to Exeter High School, graduated from Exeter, was a class officer 2 years. I played varsity basketball 2 years, played varsity football 1 year, JV baseball my first 2 years, and I didn't play baseball my junior and senior year. Graduated, went 1 year to COS. I got drafted into the Army. Took basic training at Fort Ord, finished basic training, I was in the Army and took my basic training at the Travis Air Force Base, and had on-the-job training as a clerk typist. Then they sent me to Fort Benning, Georgia, special training to go to Vietnam. 2 weeks before the company left, I was the only one in the company to get transferred. I spent the rest of my tour at Fort Benning, Georgia. So some people say, oh, you was lucky, and I said, no, it was prayers. Mama's prayers and other people's prayers. But I enjoyed my tour at Fort Benning. It was hot down there. Reminded me a lot of weather here in California. My grandfather, he built this house. He built several houses here on the street. And he was a grand marshal here in Farmersville 1 year. And my uncle that lived 2 houses down, drove a school bus at Exeter High School, he was grand marshal 1 year. And our family, both sides of our family, the Martin side and the Burke side, my mother's side, there was several baseball players in the family. And my mom used to always tease me and my brother, and growing up said, yeah, I said, your last name is Baseball. I said, well, Mom, so is yours. But my mom raised me and my brother. She was a single parent. My dad left her when I was 5, and she raised me and my brother. And she did a real good job. I've worked here in Farmersville on the parade 4 or 5 years, passing out flyers and passing out the parade booklet and selling lottery tickets. I can remember it here in Farmersville when I was a kid, when they put the sewer in, put the water line in. The first mayor in Farmersville lived down the street here from us. I can remember when we didn't have sidewalks, everything, and I enjoyed Farmersville more as a small community than I do now, because back then I knew everybody. Now I don't even know half of my neighbors. And one of the things that it kind of tickles me was when I was going to high school, I was going to take Spanish, and I thought, no, I'll never use it. I'll never go to Mexico. I'll never go to Spain. I didn't dream that they would have all the Spanish people would come into here, and I could use it then. But what a fool I was, huh? I've been when I went to Full Gospel Temple, I was a Sunday school teacher for the junior class for maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 years. Then I become the Sunday school secretary, and now I'm over here at the Assembly of God, and I'm been a board member over there for 3 years. My mother started out when I was 5 years old at that church, so they're always teasing me, telling me I'm the oldest member there. Because they said, oh, you've been here a long time, you can tell us everything. And she always kept records on all the pastors, so I got records. I tell the people, they want to know who all the pastors were, so I tell them who all the pastors were. But it's a real good church. I really enjoy it there. I haven't really been involved too much in any of the politics here in town. And very seldom do I go to a board or to a council meeting. Every once in a while, my neighbor and the mayor tries to talk me into going, or tries to get me involved with the Kiwanis. But I'm just more like a homebody type. And I'm still single, never been married, no kids. But I got a lot of other people's kids. I call them my kids, because especially the ones when I was Sunday school teacher for those youth, that some of them grew up and did real good. One that I'm especially proud of was Rachel, I think her name's Mendez now. She's a principal over at Goshen. I was her Sunday school teacher. Kelly Pierce, her and her husband Sam are their pastor down here at the Full Gospel Temple. I was her teacher. Another young lady, her and her husband pastor a church up at Modesto. So those are some of the kids that I'm proud of that was in my class. I'm just happy they picked me. It's an honor. And some people say, well, how'd you get picked? And I said, well, I guess being born here had a little bit to do with it. And being in the military, they wanted a veteran. And I wasn't even going to put in my name, take an application out, but Alice Lopez, 2 years ago, she talked me into it, and when I filled it out, I couldn't find Alice to give it to her. So I took it over and gave it to Paul, and he said, well, Jerry, we just had our meeting today, and this was last year, we picked someone for this year. Said, do you mind if I keep the flyer and we'll put it in for next year? I said, I don't care, because I didn't think nothing about it. And I was sitting in my chair there asleep, and he come over one night banging on the door and said, hey, we just had a meeting. He said, you've been picked Grand Marshal. I said, well, good.